under the topic. This is under the monthly talk that we have under the topic that is Japanese, Shintoism and Islam, decoding unknown relationship. So before, we'd like to give just a brief information about the speaker. So here we have invited Haji Kyoshiro Sugimoto, that he is currently doing his PhD in our university in heart halal industry, and he is from Japan. And the current position that he's having now is related to global outreach specialist in Islamic education and research, the MIA, as well as he's a chairman and lecturer in Shiba Islamic Culture Center, Japan, from 2016 until today. And he has been very active in he has given many lectures related to different subjects, and especially when you look at it, topics related to his concern about Muslims in Japan, as well as he has given talks related to the relationship between Muslims and others in Japan. And without any further delay, I would like to invite our speaker for today to proceed with the talk. So he's going to give a talk for 40 minutes. Then after that, as usual, up to 50 minutes, and then we have discussion or question answer session. Please, Haji, you are welcome. So you can share the PowerPoint now and proceed with the talk.
Okay, thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Fatmir Shehu. Jazakallah khair for your introduction. And let me share the slide first. Okay. Can you see it? Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can see it. Yes.
Okay. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam.
My name is Kyoichiro Sugimoto. I'm from Japan. I'm chairman of Chiba Islamic Cultural Center in Japan. Okay, let me talk about today is Shintoism and Islam, the decoding unknown relationship. So the picture now is shown. The left is Shinto shrines. It's very symbolic. We call shimenawa is a rope, which symbolizes something you will discover later. And of course, the picture, the right, is the name of Allah in Arabic. Let me start from the overview of religious populations in Japan. The data is 2020. When you see the majority, they are Shintoism and Buddhism. Shinto is about 88 million, and Buddhism is about 84 million. And others like Christianity, about 2 million, others 7 million, and Islam, 200,000. Then the total religious population exceeds 180 million, and which is actually not equal to the total population of Japan, which is 126 million. But why there is a gap? Because there is a Shinbutsu Shugo, which means synthesis of Shintoism and Buddhism, which means the most of the people, they believe both religions. It's called amalgamation of religion. Some people, they are Shintoist, at the same time Buddhist. So you can see the nature of these Japanese people later on. It's related with understanding of this topic. So what is Shinto? Shinto is the indigenous faith of the Japanese. It is a way of life and a way of thinking that has been an integral part of Japanese culture since ancient times. It is foundation for the yearly life cycles, beginning while New Year Day visit Japanese pay to a Shinto shrine to wish for the good luck. Observing Shinto faith means worshiping ancestors as guardians of the family. It also means showing respect for the myriad kami, a word that corresponds to deity in English, residing in the natural world. So you can see that there are so many kamis, the kami of mountains, kami of the sea, and so on. So this is a definition according to Jinja Honcho, is association of Shinto shrines. So in introduction, many Japanese people who have a general image of Islam as a strict monotheistic religion, and to a certain extent as a scary religion linked to terrorism. For example, it is often said that in Japan, that Shintoism, a polytheistic religion that believes in million gods, is accepting and peaceful because it believes in many gods. While Islam, which limits the number of gods to one, is exclusive and extreme. So this is how the Japanese people, they normally perceive. However, Islam has a worldview of only one creator and a wide variety of creations. So in particular, the concept of jinn, or the spirits, or the spiritual energy, is similar to that of Shintoism in Islam. So let's see, this is an overview of what I want to talk about today. The concept of God in Shintoism, Islam, is completely different. From Islamic perspective, God in Islam means Allah. However, God in Shintoism refers to jinn. Okay, so let me justify my claim from many evidences. First, from the kanji Japanese language. So the kami, this one word called the God, can be read in many ways. One way is kami, another way is a jin or shin. And the jinja, which means the Shinto shrine, Shinto shrine, which literally means the shrine of jin. Because this kanji, the left side, the red color, this called jin. Yeah. So it's very unique. Interesting to know that the sound, the pronunciation is almost same. Jin and the jin is same. In Arabic and Japanese, almost same pronunciation. And in Shinkyo, it means a monotheism, which is one God religion, and Tashinkyo, which means polytheism. So actually, the Tashin, this same kanji, same Chinese character are used, but they're indicating different. So in the case of Tashinkyo, polytheism, which means many jin religion. So nature of the many gods in Shintoism. The Islam is a monotheistic religion in which Allah is the only God to be worshipped. However, Muslims also believe in existence of mysterious spiritual beings called jinn, because jinn are often mentioned in the Quran and Hadith. For example, in the title of chapter 72 of the Quran is called Al-Jinn. And Japanese, the Mr. Takeshi Umehara, the Japanese philosopher, says, I believe that the polytheism arose when humans who originally lived in the forests saw in the various living things in the forest something mysterious and beyond the power of humans, therefore worship them. This is what Japanese philosophers said. And of course, Allah forbids human worship of mysterious spirit beings or jinn, because jinn are also Allah's creations. So what Quran said in chapter 51, verse 56, which says, I created jinn and mankind to serve me, Allah. So the reality of jinn is clearly recognized in the Quran, but most of the Japanese people do not know about it. So knowing the other is a process that is unavoidable if the fear of difference to be overcome and the mutual respect is to be attained. This is what Professor Tariq Ramadan mentioned. So this unknown relation should be informed to the Japanese people. Okay. So there are the publications in Japanese language in this matter. Oh, sorry. Let's see the characteristics of jinn. What kind of beings are jinn? Number one, they are basically invisible to human eyes. Number two, they are like powerful spiritual energy. Number three, they are a good jinn and bad jinn. And bad jinn deceive or threaten humans to cause damage. Number four, they are transformed into humans and animals and plants. According to the Arabic dictionary, the word jinn is derived from the Arabic word jannah. According to meaning is to hide or conceal. Jinn are so-called because they hide and conceal themselves from the people's eyes. Jinn is like a powerful spiritual being created before the birth of mankind and having its origin in smokeless fire. For example, jinn is generally called the jinni, or if the jinn is evil, shaitan, or the devil, or if it is worse than that, it is called the marid, or if it is worse than that, called more powerful, it is called ifrit. For example, the story of ifrit teleporting the throne of Queen Saba in response to Suleiman's request recorded in the Quran. This hadith, Abu Malik reported on the authority of a man, I was riding on a mount behind the Prophet, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may peace and blessing be upon him, said, upon him, it stumbled. Therefore I said, may shaitan, the devil, perish. He said, do not say, may the devil perish, for you say that he will swell as much as so that he will be like a house, and say, by my power, but say, in the name of Allah, the Bismillah. For when you say that, he will diminish so much so that he will be like a fly. So you see that when human beings want to fight against the shaitan, physically, of course, it is quite tough, it's difficult. Even there, if you want to challenge shaitan becomes swell, so much so that it becomes like a house, the size of a house. So that's why when we want to confront against shaitan, we call Allah, Bismillah. Then they become very small, tiny, like little fly. So jinn can be changed, their forms into humans, animals, and plants, living in a variety of places. The prophetic biography, the Sirah, mentions in the 7th century, the Christ polytheists held a meeting over the treatment of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam at the Dar al-Nadwa to prevent the Muslims from expanding their power. Iblis, the bad jinn, appeared in the form of a dignified elderly man wearing a black cloak. Jinn could change into human form. According to the Muslim scholars, some jinn are considered to eat, drink, have men and women, marry, bear children, kill each other, and die just like men. Abu Thalaba al-Khushani traced to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the saying that the jinn are three classes, one which have wings and fly in the air, one which consists of snakes and dogs, and one which stay in places and travel about. So jinn live in different places. For example, villages, mountains, bays are the most common places where they live, jinn stay. On the other hand, places that jinn often visit, for example, the sea or river, markets, rooftops, and the landfills, toilets, and the tombs. Apart from these places, also they like to visit quiet places such as valleys and deserts and the rocks and so on. And then some of the jinn that regarded like humans are those who eat and drink, marry, bear children, kill each other, and die. For example, the most ancient manuscript or the historical manuscript in Japan is called Kojiki. In Kojiki, the record of ancient matters, which is published in 712, many gods commit evil and die, marry, and bear children. According to Islamic teaching, jinn marry and bear children. Similarly, according to the Kojiki, the god Izanami, who married the god Izanaki, gave birth to many islands and then gave birth to 8 million gods. For example, gods of sea, rivers, water, wind, trees, mountains, fields, soil, and mist, valleys, and ships, and the food, and so on. Susano no Mikoto, who vanquished Yamata no Orochi, married Kushinada Hime. He had one child with Kushinada Hime and 2 children with other daughters. Suseribi Hime, daughter of Susano no Mikoto, took a marital vow with Onamuchi no Kami, is the name of God. Kojiki contains many instances of certain deities, gods dying. For example, when the goddess Izanami no Mikoto gave birth to Hino Kaguchi no Mikoto, the god of fire, she suffered severe burns on her private parts and lay sick and eventually died. So according to the Japanese, the manuscript, the Kojiki, which is a foundation of Shintoism, many gods died. So this is not nature of Allah. This is the nature of jinn. So this is this is a hadith evidence in Arabic language. It said that jinn can be a form of the hayyat, the snake, or kilab, the dog. This is something very significant statement in the 7th century. And now I want to prove that actually Japanese people, they're worshiping these kinds. Now, Jin and the Japanese snake worship. A Jin can be a snake. Dr. Yuko Yoshino, a Japanese ethnologist, points out in her book, Snakes, Snake Worship in Japan, that it is clear fact that ancient Japanese people have worshipped snakes since the Jomon period. The snake was not a messenger of gods, but a body of the gods, and the snake itself was a god. In other words, ancient Japanese people who worshipped snakes were very interested in the shedding of the snake as a means of bringing about renewal and regeneration of life. So this is related with Nagas worship in Hinduism, maybe origin of snake worship in Shintoism. Now you can see Shimenawa, the sacred shrine rope, is symbol of snake worship in Shintoism. Shimenawa, you can see in the shrine, in the very front side, there is the front gate. You can see there is a twin, the symbolic statue. It symbolizes is a snake, and this attached the tori, the gate of shrine, all over Japan. And for example, this one shrine called the Hakuryu Shrine in Miyazaki Prefecture in Kyushu Island, believe that there is a living white snakes in the shrine, and that the Shimenawa originated from the image of mating white snakes. Shimenawa is also symbol of the snake worship in Shintoism. For example, Izumo Taisha Shrine is one of the most old and famous shrine in Japan. It is located in Shimane Prefecture, is also famous for its large Shimenawa sacred rope, one of the largest in Japan. According to Mr. Kenichi Tanigawa, the Japanese ethnologist, Izumo Taisha Shrine still holds the annual festival called the Dragon Snake Festival as a part of Kami-ari Festival. Many cedar trees are located in Shinto shrines, and they are symbols of the body of snake. Shimenawa is wrapped around the trees because they are considered sacred. At Okusawa Shrine in Tokyo and the Kumano Shrine in Saitama Prefecture, Shimenawa, resembling a snake with a perfect snake head, is wrapped around the torii gate. At Oisugi Shrine in Shiga Prefecture and other shrines, Shimehiki, the true snakes, which resemble the snakes with a perfect snake head, are wrapped around the torii. And the Shirahata Hachiman Daijin Shrine in Kanagawa Prefecture, Hachiman-ko, which means snake festival, is held every year in March. A true snake is dedicated to the torii gate to pray for the fertility in the region. Even today, in June 30, almost after 4 days, a Shinto ritual called Nagoshi no Oharae is held at a shrine throughout Japan. Although not a Shimenawa, it is said that by passing through a chinowa, the thatching ring that resembles a snake body, people purge themselves of sins and injuries, and they pray for good health and good fortune. So the origin of this ritual is believed to be the ancient Japanese who had a strong belief in snakes and who wished for the renewal of life and rebirth of symbolizing the shedding of the snake skin. So the people are passing through the circle, the ring, so that they can erase their sins, the past sins. So there are also the more than 2,000 shrines affiliated with the Kompira Shrine in Kagawa Prefecture, known as the Kompira-san, throughout Japan. Its deity is a deity Omononushi, the snake god. According to Kotoryo, the chief priest of Kompira Shrine, said Mount Kotohira, the site of this shrine, has long been revered by the people as sacred mountain where the snake god or dragon god resides. According to one theory, the mountain itself is said to be a god. the nature of kami of mountains. In Sakura City, Nara Prefecture, there are the cone-shaped Mount Miwa, the left picture. According to Omiwa Shrine located at the root of the mountain, the coiled snake body is one of the forms in which the Omononushi no kami or kami is manifested. According to the legend of Mount Nantai, the Tochigi Prefecture designated cultural property, originally the snake was the object of worship. But the Mount Nantai, which looks like a coiled snake, the triangle coiled snake, became the object of worship later. So Mount Miwa Japan literally means 3 rings, literally means. And another reading is Mount Miwa is O means a big, and the Miwa is God, in that case, shrine. So actually, Omiwa shrine means big 3 rings shrine. So why 3 rings? Because big 3 rings indicates the snake coil. So originally, it means the big 3 rings shrine, not big God shrine. So for example, Great Snake Festival near Mount Nantai in Tochigi Prefecture was every year they held. Senjogahara field located at the root of Mount Nantai, it is said that a long time ago, a god transformed into a snake and the centipede and fought with them. Even today, the Great Snake Festival is held every year at the nearby Ogami Onsen hot spring. So they bring this the model of snake from the shrine, from inside the shrine. Now in Sekikawa village, Niigata prefecture, there is a legend called the Oritoge, Ori Pass. In this legend, the local people believe that a big snake tried to stop the great flood of rivers, and today they wish for the snake or prevent the village from floods again, and they make a festival every year. So this is the largest snake which is made by the straw and registered in the Guinness. Ise Jingu, Mie Prefecture, enshrines Amaterasu, is the name of God, at Naigu, or the Imperial Grand Shrine. Mr. Nobuzane Tsukushi, a Japanese ethnologist, has stated clearly that Amaterasu was a snake. Mr. Jiichiro Nishino, who specializes in the ancient history of Ise-Jingu Shrine, also states in his book, Ancient Japan Ise-Jingu Shrine, the deity of the Imperial Grand Shrine, that is Amaterasu Omikami, is a snake. And the Sai-O is his consort. And that is why Amaterasu goes to Saigu every night to get married. And every morning, the scales of the Kuchinowa, which means a snake, fall from the Saigu's bed. In the river Isuzu, this green color, the river Isuzu, to Ise-Jingu, that flows through the palace area of the Imperial Grand Shrine, Taki Matsuri no Kami is still enshrined as a river god, water god. The shape of the river is like a snake body, and is regarded as avatar of the dragon snake god. Now see, there is no shrine pavilion there, but only a stone platform inside the shrine wall with a mountain-shaped stone placed in the center of platform. The stone symbolizes a coil shaped of snake. So there, what is inside this shrine? So we wondered what is inside. So we check what is there. There is a mountain-shaped stone. Only one mountain-shaped stone is located. So what is this? This is probably symbolizing the coiled shape of snake, which is indicated as a picture here. Itsukushima Shrine, Hiroshima Prefecture. This is a World Heritage Place. Is actually original face is a dragon and snake worship. The professor Teruaki Matsui, professor of Hiroshima City University, he mentioned that there was a dragon king face to assume an enshrined deity, a dragon woman, for a long time, Itsukushima Shrine, and this perceived as a surge of the Fukujin face after the latter period of Muromachi area, and switched to it to the Saraswati face, to great happiness and prosperity. So what is Saraswati face? So the concept Saraswati migrated from India through China to Japan, where she appears as Benzaiten. Worship of Benzaiten arrived in Japan during 6th century to 8th century, and she is often depicted holding a biwa, a traditional Japanese musical instrument, and she is enshrined on numerous locations throughout Japan. During the medieval period onwards, Benzaiten came to be associated or even conflated with a number of Buddhist and local deities, eventually became ascribed to Benzaiten in popular belief, the snake god Ugajin, and the kami Ichikino or Ichikishima Hime, due to her status as a water deity, and she was also linked with Nagas, dragons, and snake in Hinduism. So previously, this Benzaiten with root biwa seated on the white dragon. This is a picture. Now, they combined it. Then combined Ugajin, a feminine form. Ugajin means a snake god. Now, god whose lower body is shaped like a snake. So they maintain the lady's face, the head, and they attach to the snake body. Next is from snake god to fox god. Remember, the hadith mentioned that the jinn can be a form of snake and it can be a form of dog. And the fox is a kind of dog, according to the scientific classification. So according to the Toyouke Inari Hongu, the snake god is older than fox god, worshipped at Fushimi Inari Shrine. The Chinese theory of yin-yang and the 5 elements influence the Chinese fox god to the Japanese snake god, water god. So when we look at this, the picture, the sacred tablet of Uka no Mitama no Kami, at the center we can find the snake shape of snakes, and below we can see the fox shape of fox. This is the English, the homepage of Fushimi Inari Shrine, Fushimi Inari Taisha. Is the biggest or center or the headquarters of Inari Shrine. And then there are many deities, gods, and the center. Who is the center? This is number 1. It said Uka no Mitama no Kami. Uka means snake. No means of. Mitama means spirit. No means of. Okami means God. So it's a god, the spirit of the snake. Fox and the fire at Fushimi Inari Shrine, the Toyokawa Inari Shrine, Aichi Prefecture. In yin-yang and the 5 elements philosophy, the fox yellow body is considered to belong to the earth, yellow soil. And the key, the spirit, and the fire, red key, gives birth to earth key. So the fox and fire are closely related. So what happens in the ancient Japanese people, their lifeline is the paddy, is a rice. Still the main staple food in Japan is a rice. So when you see the rice, you can see that when the time of cultivation, all yellow, So their hope, their wish to have a good harvest, that was their wish. So how they wish, they introduce this the philosophy of yin-yang and the 5 elements, which believes that the red color give birth to yellow, which means that yellow is indicating rice. So in order to have good harvest, they're worshiping this yellow color. At Mitsumine Shrine in Chichibu City, Saitama, Okuchi no Magami is also known as sacred dog, is revered by the people. Okuchi no Magami is a deified form of wolf, dog, which is worshipped for its ability to receive the similar spiritual power of the gods. So in short, again, I will come back to this formula. The god of Shintoism is Jin. So monotheism, the god means Allah, but in polytheism, God means Jin. Especially Shintoism, this god indicates Jin. For example, snake, dragon god, fox, a dog god, or 8 million gods. And in conclusion, the word God in the monotheism of Islam and the word Kami in the polytheism of Shintoism have the same kanji of Kami, but the former refers to Allah and the latter to Jin. When we read texts related to monotheism and polytheism, we need to first understand exactly what the God indicates. By doing so, we can avoid the misconception that polytheism is accepted and peaceful, while Islam, with its only one God, is exclusive and dangerous. In Japanese Shintoism, deities refers to the Jin of Islam, such as the snake god, fox god, or dog god, 8 million gods, and so on. Islam recognizes the existence of Jin. Therefore, Islam and Shintoism can coexist with the framework of Islam. Since both Kami and the Jin exhibit supernatural abilities, the Japanese who did not have the Quran, the book of Revelation, could not distinguish whether the certain supernatural phenomena was due to the power of God, the Allah, or that of Jin. This is a Quran which is published in Japanese language, because it is very, very essential for the Japanese people to know who is Allah and what is Jin. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you for your kind listening. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Haji Kiyoshiro, for this reflective essay and insightful presentation. When I look at the relationship related to both religions, Islam and Shintoism, and as we look at your presentation, the main focus of presentation was related to the concept of God, how is represented, especially in Shintoism, in order to avoid the misunderstanding that might happen between two religions when you look at the concept of God. And you look at that in Shintoism, they have the concept of Jin that is transforming itself from, in the past to different creatures like a snake, a fox, a dog. And according to the history of Japan religion or Japanese religion, the Japanese people used to worship this, and the philosophy that they used to translate, and that is related to the needs, because they were asking and they were trying to fulfill their needs. As you mentioned here, the case of the snake that helped them to stop the flood, and because of that, they started to praise and worship the snake. But the main idea, as you mentioned here, it is like Japanese people, they believe and worship Jin as a deity instead of worshiping God, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the concept of God in both religions, as you mentioned here, in Islam we have Allah, whereas according to the Shintoism, the concept of Jin has, it denotes the same meaning. So, and as you look at the conclusion that you mentioned, that this is what should make us to differentiate, because when you look at the relationship here, Jin, according to Islam, is a creature created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and is not worshipped. Whereas in Shintoism, we see that the Jin is worshipped and is taking different forms. And you gave us many examples here. So this is what I can say in all, that this is a very insightful presentation. So now we open for questions or any comments from the audience. Now we have, I think we have here one in the chat. Okay, we have one in the chat here. Question is one Mohammed Nazim. how does Shintoism practitioner practice their religion outside Japan? Or does the religion, the inclusive for Japanese people in Japan only? Do you read that, Haji? You see it in the chat room?
Okay. So let
this
me.
This is one Mohammed Nazmia. You can answer them one by one.
Okay.
Yeah, please. Huh?
Okay. So how does Shinto practitioner practice their religion outside Japan? Outside.
Yes.
Well, as far as I know, there is a Shinto shrine in like a Brazil. Brazil is one of the biggest Japanese migrated population outside Japan. However, I have no idea what actually they are doing. I do not really research their actual practice. So I have no idea what exactly they are doing outside Japan. I can explain inside Japan. Yeah. So does the religion inclusive for Japanese people in Japan only? Well, yeah. As far as I know, in Japan, within Japan, the people can believe all religions simultaneously. Like they are like celebrating Christmas, same time doing the what do you call it, the Easter, and then and then when they die, they die as a Buddhist style. When they are born, Shinto style, something like this. So it's, I said, amalgamation of religion. Yeah, so I think I hope I answer your question. Is this
okay? Okay, Ajit, there is another question here. Yep. That is Kokab. She has asked a question. Do you think, sir, that the new generation really believes in the gods? And what is the concept of God to them as it refers to jinn? That is related to the new generation. New generation, okay. In practically speaking, just I mentioned in the very beginning overview of the religious population in Japan, that is more nominal, is a nominal number, but the practical number is totally different. Even their name are the Shintoist or the Buddhist, but practically speaking, people don't know. Even the people go to shrine only at the first year, what they call New Year Day only once a year. So they are wishing whatever they want in this life, about health, about their business, about their marriage, about their children, and so on. So I do believe that most people do not know. They do not know about the basic teaching of the Buddhism or Shintoism. Sorry, the Shintoism. Yeah. So even in terms of their faith, of course, we cannot see, but as far as we can see how they frequently they visit shrine, almost no visit. So probably their faith also is not very obvious, not clear and not strong. Yeah. Then that's why there's the opportunity to introduce Islam. It's an opportunity. Okay, so what's the concept of God to them, and as it refers to jinn? Yeah, so they also surprised after I present this matter, and they realize that actually what they worship is actually jinn. Yeah, and they regarded Allah is the only one of them. From Japanese perspective, Allah is Allah no Kami, which means God of Allah. They consider Allah is one of their gods. This is how they see it. But I said from the beginning, it's totally different. Allah is completely different existence from what Japanese people usually normally believe as gods. Yeah. So I show this the formula. This the figure. Yeah. So God is there only one creator. Others are all creations. And the jinn, yeah, or kami, or yeah, these are all creations of Allah. That's why I die. Yeah, that's why they're shape of snake and the dogs and the fox. Yeah, these are not the nature of God. So it's interesting enough. About 30%, there is a newspaper survey, about 30% of Japanese people, they are believing in like the great power, which we cannot see. Some supernatural great power. Probably that is Allah, according to
their fitra. The Japanese people, even though they do not know about God's, their original nature, but naturally, the people understand there is some supernatural power which controls their fate, their destiny. So I believe that even young people, they can feel when we introduce the clear concept of God and Allah in Islam. I hope I answer your question.
But what is here, Kyoshiro, is like, do they consider that as God or just believe that there is a supernatural being?
Yeah, it's same. It's same for them. Yeah, supernatural being is a God.
So does that reflect the gene or is God by itself?
Yeah, okay. It's a mixture.
It's a mixture.
It's a mixture of belief. So some people, they believe, some supernatural, like a creator kind of concept. Okay, this is one group. The other group, they believe totally like limited kind of concept of God. So maybe it's associated with animal, plants, as I mentioned about rivers and the sea and sun, for example. So it's not clear-cut answer here. It depends on the person to person. Anyway, the point is that they are believing multiple gods. The important thing is they are believing many gods. Whether that includes the creator concept or not, the issue is like that. Yeah. Like a 7th century in Arabian Peninsula, people believe the Rabb, the creator. They have that concept. But the mushrik, they are associating partners with this creator. That was the issue. Probably the same situation in Japan.
Okay, you have another question here, Haji, that one as well.
Yeah.
In Islam, Sultan is considered the leader and protector of Islam. But what about the emperor of Japanese? Does it relate to Shintoism? When you look at the figure of emperor.
Yes, it's related. Yeah. So they believe that the many gods, as I mentioned, when you look at Kojiki or Nihon Shoki, all of a sudden, this spiritual being became human being suddenly. So according to that manuscript, the Japan emperor is a descendant of these gods. So now God becomes human form. Not only human form, I mean, not theoretically speaking, but physical human now. So that is what the relation with emperor of Japan and Shintoism.
So it means that the emperor is considered like another
living God.
Living God. So
living God. That was kamikaze happened. That's why.
Kamikaze.
That's why kamikaze happened during World War II. They die for God because the Tenno or the emperor is a living God. They die for him. That's why it's very dangerous associating partners and then humanizing God. Now Japan already experienced atomic bomb, anti-atomic bomb. Then after that, they make it, they change the constitution. Now the emperor is the only symbol of Japan. Is nothing to do with divinity anymore because they realized.
Maybe I can mention more here, like when you look at the living God, was he worshipped by people being the living God? And now it became a symbol. Previously, did they worship emperor like a living God?
What are you saying?
I mean, when you said that the emperor was considered as a living God.
Previously.
Yeah, was he worshipped by them? And now he became a symbol. Is he praised by the people?
Yeah. So now is a respect, just respect. No more worship. Yeah? Nobody worship, but before he was worshipped. Considered as like a god. Okay, did I answer your question? Clear?
Yeah, that is clear. Yeah, I mean, when you said that Emperor was considered as a living God and worshipped previously, and now it's just only a symbol, became a symbol.
Yeah,
So
symbol. Yeah.
that responds to the question that was raised before about the current situation or the young generation. So maybe current situation, does it mean that the influence of other religions or the influence of the contemporary situation has that changed the perception of the the Japanese people? How do you look at it? Because you mentioned that other religions are there. Have they influenced the Japanese people to change their perception directly or indirectly?
No. Not because of other religion. It's simply because of World War II. Okay. As a result of like atomic bomb and then like lost the war, now they wake up. What happened actually? Because they are believing living gods, right? Living gods.
Yes.
Yeah. But why lose? So it was wake up call. Yeah.
Okay. That is good. Yeah. So they look at the reality. They did not get what they believe. Another question here, Haji, is about jinn is considered as an evil spirit or good spirit?
Okay, that is a good question. Yeah.
Yes.
So both sides, yeah, Muslims believe that the jinn can be good and bad. Yeah. Then in Japan also same. Like Japanese people, they believe some shrine is good, some shrine is bad, which means some shrines give some good fortune, some shrine give some negative impact for their life. So they know from their experience or from reputation. So if there is a like a bad jinn there, so it gives the negative impact. So people say, don't go that shrine, don't go that shrine. There's something wrong with that shrine. So it means most probably the bad jinn maybe resides, stay that place. So even Japanese, by intuition, by their religious experience, they know it. They can distinguish there is a good jinn or good spirit and a bad spirit.
Maybe if you can add a bit more here related to they experience. Do they experience? Have they seen jinn or have they experienced? Or like you said, they see the transformation or how?
Yeah. So this is what Muslims also believe. They look here, right? The jinn masuk, what do I call it? The jinn enter into the human being and they control, right? So we consider that bad jinn. Yeah. So it happens in Japan too. Even there is a Shinto, what they call priest, they can call jinn. Yeah. Not only they can physically they can see the jinn, but they have ability to call jinn and then let this jinn enter their body and then to speak on behalf of jinn. There are a certain kind of category of people, like a Shinto priest, they have that ability. So it's whether they are bad jinn or good jinn, this jinn speak. So this kind of practice existed. I think today I don't know, but maybe just only matter of maybe 30, 40 years ago, this kind of practice still existed. And okay. And then like when the people want to build a new building on the new land, so there's the practice that the landowner, they call the Shinto priest, and then what they call it, they clean this land from the evil spirit. Yeah. So this kind of the practices still exist every day. So which means they are believing that there is a bad jinn, and they don't like, of course, bad jinn. So they try to avoid it. Through Shintos, the priest, what do you call it? The spelling or chanting, yeah, reading some magical words, yeah. But anyway, there is a special priest who can see the jinn physically. Even among the Muslim, there are many people, I think, they can see the jinn directly, physically. I know some certain people, some Muslim I talked, they can see the jinn.
Okay, there is another addition added by the same this sister Kokab. She raised, do you think this culture has permeated the expression of Muslims?
Do you think this culture has?
When I look at the jinn considered as, or the way how it is expressed.
I don't understand the question. What do you mean? Do you think culture? This culture, which culture?
Yeah, this
Japanese
culture that believing this, the one that you just
Japanese
explained,
culture, you mean?
Japanese, yeah. I mean, do they consider this as a culture, by the way, I mean, or it is a religion? So,
I don't understand. What do you mean?
no, now the question is, do you think this culture, I don't know why, because here we talk about religion, so this is not a culture or maybe practice, we can say this practice could be the practice that is practiced by the Japanese related to the way that you mention now, the jinn, how they are dealing with the jinn.
Not clear. No. What is the exact question?
I mean, she's, yeah, as I mentioned, this is
to...
the belief, what they have. Culture would be the belief, what they believe. This is what you are talking about, what the Japanese people believe. This kind of practice, you know, or this kind of belief that they have, the system of belief.
Yeah, this is all what I'm explaining.
So how that maybe that is related to I mean, how you relate this to the Muslims? Is that I mean, yeah, this is what I had in mind, but she made it very clear related to this. I mean, perhaps could be how that does that affect, you know, or we can say maybe another way, like one is mentioned, view death and afterlife. Maybe we can talk about accountability. Does it this kind of belief that they have creates a kind of accountability and responsibility for them, and what is next, you know, like here the view, how they view the life after death, if they have that kind of belief.
Is this what they want? She wants to know.
Now she wanted to say that whether this belief that they have has this permeated the expression of Muslims. Sister Kokab, can
you rephrase again?
Yeah, can you read? I mean, if you want, maybe can you rewrite?
Can you rewrite? What does it?
Another question. Okay, maybe we see. Wait, she can rephrase that again. Can you answer this? I think Muhammad Nazim is raising the question: how does Shintoism view death and the afterlife? Maybe that is another topic, you know. But briefly, if you'd like to talk about this.
I have no idea clearly. Yes, because my topic today is about concept of God.
Yes.
It's out of topic.
Yeah, this is what I said. If you are not able, I mean, if you don't, because the focus today is very different.
Yeah, I'd rather not divert the topic.
Now, this, I mean, the perception that, I mean, when they believe in this system, with that make responsible people. When I look at the Japanese people, that the way the attitude that they show. Now, if we bring to the relationship between Muslims and Japanese people who believe in that, does the system of belief help them to have a better relationship with them, or do they look at what they have is better than others? Will that make like responsible to the community, the performance, when I look at the concept of God?
No, the thing is that it is a great opportunity for the Muslim to introduce Islam to Japanese people. Why? Because first of all, they are worshipping jinn, all right? Actually, according to Islam perspective, they are not worthy of worship, right? Allah is the only worthy of worship. Yes, then we have the justification here. So now, why you have to worship? I mean, what it is better? I mean, worthy of worship. Yeah. So that is the part, because since many people, Japanese people, don't know who is Allah. Yeah. So after explaining they're completely different, Allah and this jinn is completely different. So then next step is who is Allah. So that is a part of dawah. Yeah. So this is just from fresh perspective. Japanese people do not know Allah. So this is the whole purpose actually. Is not introducing jinn for the Japanese people. They already know it, just we name it differently. But they don't know Allah. That's why that is the connecting part. That's the contribution of Islam and the Quran. Because since the Quran is not here, the people, historically, we don't have the kitab. Yeah. So that is a significant part. I mean, even why we are comparing, what is the purpose of this comparison? Yeah.
Yeah, that is clear because you mentioned that they have the idea of this superpower, ultimate being. At the same time, among this God, they consider this like the Arabs that you mentioned the expression. God was there. This is good that you can say to start with and focus.
Yes.
Okay, so, now we have again this. You look at the sister. That is what she meant. I mean that beliefs have also affected Muslims. I mean this kind of belief that the Japanese have. Is this affecting Muslims? Let's say they believe in jinn and I mean God reflection. Does that affect Muslims when they have?
Not affected. Nothing to do with Muslim belief. Muslim living in Japan, actually, most of them, they don't know what is Shintoism. So, if there is any influence of Japanese life upon the Muslims, is the hubbud dunya, the love of this world. That's it. Nothing else. Hubbud dunya. The worldly life completely affect the Muslim in Japan.
Yeah, that is another sister. She has raised this question. If you'd like to, of course, she's linking this with Akhirah, but she's the point here is like that you mentioned the Japanese people when they go to the shrine and ask for their wishes related to this life. Yes. So that is all what, I mean, is that only just they want to get the material well-being, or they talk about the well-being in this world only?
I see, yes. Yeah, yes, that's the point. So Japanese people, they do not consider the life after death, even single second. One day, when they leave, even 1 second, they not think about Akhirah. First of all, they do not have that concrete picture, concrete idea of Akhirah, first of all. Yeah, so fully dunya. The life is this life only, basically. And you can practically see. Practically. Okay. So everything is a monetary based, become monetary based. That's why people believe that religion is a business. In Japan, whatever new religion you can see, all business.
As you mentioned, this is a dunya perspective only.
Yeah. So when they go New Year Day, they go shrine, they put the hand like this, they like this, and they wish their health, their wealth, their business, their marriage. They can find a good marriage partner. They have good offspring, the children. That's all.
Okay, there is another question here that Shintoists consider jinns to be God. They also worship their ancestors. How is the connection between worshiping jinns and also their ancestors?
Yeah, that's why the jinn can be a form of human that I mentioned. Yeah. So in Japanese people, they feel that the soul never die, never perish. So when the ancestor, their father, forefather, mother, mother, they die, then once a year during like August, these spirits or the soul will come back to the ground. And then they meet, they can communicate with the descendants. So that's why during the mid of August, there is the usual custom. Japanese people, they visit graveyard because ancestor, the soul, they come back to the graveyard. So they can communicate, they chat, of course, by heart. So that is the belief. So ancestors, right? So that is a kind of form of jinn. You are talking with jinn, but although they cannot see,
Okay, that is very clear. Yeah. Another question that is followed by the same participant that raised this before: how difficult for Muslim to introduce Islam? When you look at the
okay, it is not difficult to introduce. Yeah. Only problem is that maybe difficult to speak in Japanese language. Yeah, the problem is a language. So that's why we need to select certain terminology which make people understood easily. We do not use terms, some very complicated, difficult word. They're more confused. So that's why we need certain ability and the skills to introduce Islam, Japanese people in Japanese language. Yes.
Okay, I think this, almost we had many good questions here. Alhamdulillah. If there is any other question, maybe this will be the last question. Yes, if anything else, you can directly ask the question to our speaker.
Yes, Prof.
Yes, okay, Brother Ahmed Mohammed.
Yes.
Please.
I want to thank you, Professor, for the lecture. It is very, very interesting discussion. I followed from the beginning. I want to ask you this one particular question. Even though you are talking about a different subject, but it is quite related to the question I'm going to ask you. The question is very simple. Can human being live without God? Because some people believe so. Some people do not believe in anything. They just believe in atheism. Can human being live as human being without believing anything? If they can't, what will happen to them if they continue to believe without it? Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, thank you.
You.
Yeah, so it again, we have to refer to what God indicates for them. This God can be any forms. For example, the Quran said, "Ara'aita man ittakhadha ilahahu hawahu." This ilaha can be your desires. You know, can be anything. Maybe money, maybe your sexual desires, maybe you will have some, I don't know, property, you love your family, whatever. Whatever it make you far away, not close to, far away from Allah, believing Allah, that is we call bad desires or something negative force. But this can be ilaha, you know, the deity or the object of worship. So it's we call some people call this a minor shirk. It can be happened even among Muslims. So for the non-Muslims, if somebody claims that we can live without believing God, but actually believe in this hawa, and you have become slave of this hawa, and you cannot free from, since the shaitan also with us, surrounded us. Fortunate, unfortunate, that is a test. So first, we have to define what God indicates, I mean, for that particular person. Then if has no idea, we have to investigate whether this person is actually have that certain evil desire or not. And everybody not free from it. Because of shaitan influence, nobody free from that. I hope I answer your question.
Do we have any other question? I think this will be, because the time almost is near to the end of our forum for today. And I believe that our speaker for today has discussed a very important topic related to both religions, and that is the concept of God. And he gave us very insightful information about this concept in both religions and the difference that is related to Japanese religion At the same time, alhamdulillah, we're very happy that he provided very fruitful information about the questions that were raised by the participants. So we are very thankful for that as well. And before we finish this forum, I'd like to invite our director, Prof. Dawood Al-Hidabi. Perhaps he would like to say anything or something that is related to the forum. Prof. Dawood.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum
Salam.
First of all, I would like to thank our presenter. He's shed light on very important new knowledge for us and our participant in this forum. May Allah reward him for enlightening us with this knowledge. I am sure by understanding others' cultures, in fact, enhance our iman, strengthen our iman, and help us to believe firmly in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the message of Islam. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that our iman is very logical, and logic and revelation come together. And alhamdulillah, that this deen is taking shape in every time and place. And thanks for Dr. Fatmir, the Deputy Director of IMO, for his successful management of this forum. And thanks for all the brothers and sisters who participated in this session. Jazakumullahu khairan, all of you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Barakallah fiqh, dear Prof. Dawood, for your good comments related to the forum, as well as that is an opening eye for those who participate in this forum to understand the reality as it is, and especially when you look at it from the Islamic perspective, regardless of how people look at it from their own perspectives. And as it was mentioned by our speaker today, there is a way that we can, as Muslims, can communicate with Japanese people, and when we know what they have. And as he mentioned, it's very easy, but when you look at one of the important means of communication, that is the language. So I believe that when Muslims, they are able to study the language of the Japanese people, easily they can communicate. And another thing that we have to understand here, when it comes to the hidayah that will come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the most important thing is we have to contribute as Muslims to share our knowledge with others. And we cannot share the knowledge unless we know others. And I believe this platform that we just listened to, the talk that was given to us by Haji Kyoshiro, related to the relationship, when I look at the very fundamental concept in both religions, and this will be very useful for us to understand the other aspect that is related to Japanese religion. We might be very well versed in Islam, but if we do not know others, it will be very difficult to communicate Islam to them. And this is what we can say, and would like at the end to thank our speaker for providing this insightful information and talk related to especially what I can see here, something new, that is Shintoism. That is very good for us. And I would like to thank as well the participants who participated in this forum from the very beginning, as well as those who contributed, giving comments and asking questions. And lastly, would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making it easy for us to be here together, and would like to thank as well the team in our Institute for Muslim Unity, that they have contributed from the very beginning when it comes to the promotion, the design of the poster, as well the promotion of this forum. So with that, let us close by Tasbih Kafara and Surah Al-Asr. سبحانك اللهم بحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلى الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. بارك الله فيكم و thank you very much. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أمان الله.